Hello, I'm Satya Kiran. I'm the Training and Placement Officer and Associate Professor of Management at Vidya Jyoti Institute, a leading engineering college in Hyderabad. I am a session speaker on retaining talent in recessionary times at the Dun & Bradstreet Talent Management Conference in Bangalore.
What do you think is the objective of your talk at the conference?
Well, obviously there are a lot of issues to discuss, but there are two very specific issues that I wanted to focus on. One is the ever-widening gulf between the industry and the academia. And the second issue is a fact that we are not trying to, that we are not reconciled to. And the fact is, post-recession, the last 5 years since 2008, there has been a tremendous structural change in the world of work. So I think these are the two issues that I would like to focus on.
What are the specific skill sets other than technical competencies which are sought after?
I think it's a very important question, and a question that addresses some of the lacuna in our education system. In fact, if I can digress a minute and tell you about something that's been happening at Harvard Business School. Nitin Nodia became the dean of Harvard about 3 years back, and the first thing that he did was to do a diagnosis of the existing curriculum in Harvard. And after a 3-month exhaustive study, they came to the conclusion that the course in Harvard was not in tune with the industry standards. Now, remember, this is Harvard, and you're talking about one of the world's most powerful business schools. Now, if an Ivy League institution, if a top business school in the US actually believes that its curriculum is not up to speed with the industry requirements, I wonder what would happen if a similar exercise were to be conducted in India. The most important thing that we seem to forget is, at the end of the day, to succeed in a workplace, in fact by extension, to succeed in a career, communication skills play a very important role. And unfortunately, in India, the focus is too much on technical competency. There's so much of focus on getting your maths right, getting your physics and chemistry, that the other competences, which we call, in our parlance, we call it soft skills. So soft skills have become a great casualty of the technology run in India. I think any education pursuit that does not take into consideration the importance of, let's say, networking skills or interpersonal skills, communication skills, emotional skills, I think without focus on these issues, I think education would not be able to serve its essential purpose.
Who do you think has impacted the subject of leadership the most in the recent times?
From the world of academia, I think the most seminal contribution to the subjects of leadership and management came from the likes of Warren Bennis and Peter Drucker. And back home, we've had Indian origin American professors like Vijay Govindarajan, Deepak Jain and Bala Balachandran. But if I can pick one or two names from the industry, from the technology sphere, they've got to be Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. And remember this, for the last 60 years, the American administration has been waging what we call a democratization process. Now, what the American military might could not do, Facebook and Twitter have been doing in the Middle East. So I think in terms of their impact factor, Facebook and Twitter have done more than what the American hard power could not do in the last 60 years. So I think the world of tomorrow will be the world of ideas, and anyone who can glamorize ideas and make them acceptable to the people world over are going to be the superstar leaders of tomorrow.
What do you think needs to be done to improve the present education system in India?
Well, first of all, I do not have any pretensions of offering a solution to you. In the last 65 years since independence, of the best of educational minds could not provide a solution to this problem. I don't intend to provide any prescriptions here. But the fact is, having been the product of fairly good British education, the biggest problem that I see in India is that we are cognition oriented. We seem to focus too much on information gathering, information sharing and information blurting. What we need to do, and what I'm sure the brains at the Ministry of HRD can do, is to ensure that the process of training and education serves three very essential purposes, right? One is the cognitive process, which is information gathering, but more important is the other two elements, which is the affective process and the psychomotor process. I think all of us realize that the three components actually make education. One is the cognition part, which is about, as I said, about information. The affective process, which is about attitude building. And third, psychomotor is skill building. And we are still stuck in the first stage. And that is the reason why there exists a lot of difference between the American education, which is as much about information as it is about application of that information and knowledge.